Hey there friends, thanks for joining me again. And today I wanted to just do a quick update kind of vlog style thing, kind of low key, because we've been doing a lot of different things with the house and some projects, some, I don't know if you would call it redecorating, but just getting some different furniture and different things in place and just making the place more like home. I don't really enjoy that all that much, or at least the decorating. I like projects, but not so much the other. But I do feel like it does need to happen in order for us to be, happy here. And it's made a big difference. So I don't remember moving around furniture and stuff like that. So even though it seems like a lot of money and a lot of, time and, effort to put all the stuff into place, at least it'll stay that way for a long time. And so we can be good with that. So anyway, I'm going to start first with this first living room and kind of take you on a quick tour of the stuff that we have accomplished with it. For the most part, it is still very much the same as it was before. We still have this piano here. However, we have a couple of new additions in the furniture department. Here we have an armoire. I actually got this armoire for free on a Facebook group, and it was all beat up and scratched up, and I actually did a video on it showing how I fix stuff like this without having to refinish the whole thing. Hopefully you can see that without it being too washed out. But the video, I messed it up, and so I don't know how to fix it. Long story short, I don't know. We'll see if we can figure out how to get that done again, because it can save a ton of money versus having to refinish it or just living with it scratched and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, very severely scratched, had all sorts of paint stuck to it and different stuff, but I think it's beautiful. It still has some dents and things, which you can obviously see, but the stuff that you see from a distance, you really can't tell the other scuff marks and stuff because they blend now. So yeah, for free, I would say totally worth it. Had to do a little work to get it better, but again, totally worth it. So yeah, some different storage space and things like that. So we're still trying to get that set up and moved into. Okay, so then on this side, we have a new couch. We just got this not long ago, again through Facebook. The sell groups on Facebook seem to be outperforming the sell groups or selling or buying through Craigslist. I don't know. Maybe they just have a bad reputation, and so people more and more are choosing to go with Facebook instead. So anyway, we have decided to go ahead and buy this couch. We bought this on Facebook used. It was used for about half a year, and then they said they just didn't have room for it anymore. We really like it. It's very comfortable. It's my favorite color, chocolate brown, and while the pillows are a little much, not sure if I'm feeling the pillows. And then our ottoman. This is an ottoman we've had for a long time. And it actually is a storage ottoman. Maybe I showed you this in my other house. I can't remember if I showed you this or not. But anyway, so yeah, it opens for storage. That was obviously very needed when we had our smaller house. The problem is it was ripped really bad. On this side there was this huge gash, and you could see the particle board and the stuffing and stuff inside of there. And so to fix it, I went ahead and recovered it myself. And then the other thing that was wrong with it is that the hinges were broken on this side. And so I took off all of the hinges, and then I put all new ones on and then made them all match. So yeah, now it actually operates correctly and it looks a whole lot better. So this living room has gotten a huge makeover, and honestly, while I hated this living room in the beginning, I definitely like it more now that it actually has a function and a purpose, and it's a space that we can actually use. And the reason that we chose to make this living room the nicer living room is because it's actually the one that's right next to the front door. So when people come over and whatnot, or just anything like that, this living room, because we use it less, stays a whole lot cleaner, and so we can almost have the appearance of having a clean house all the time when that is not the case. So honestly, I hate to say this, but I'm actually starting to appreciate having this space. It sort of has this more formal look. It's better for when people come over to have a clean space to use right away without it having to be, our other living room, which is much more lived in and almost never perfectly clean except for when we pick it up in the evening. But as soon as everybody wakes up in the morning and starts using it, it's instantly cluttered again. So anyway, here is the progress that we have made on this living room. I am extremely happy with the way that it's turning out. Of course, we have a little more to do to work with it. But yeah, really happy with that. And the next one is this big armoire. This one we had to pay for. We went to Habitat for Humanity and we bought this on a 30% off sale. It is solid wood, and when I was looking around and shopping around and whatnot, we could not find anything even in the particle board, category for that price. So I do like getting furniture used mainly because you can get higher quality furniture for cheaper. So if I can go that route, I'm definitely going to. So if you remember from the house tour video, this shelf was actually in this spot, and then it had all of the school supplies and things on it. We already took all of that off, or most of it. I still have a little bit more to work on. And then this shelf is actually going in the kids' bedroom. It's going to, house their games and other stuff like that. And I'm really actually very happy to have this in place because it was really stressing me out not having anywhere to put my paperwork. So 2017 rolled around, I have to keep all of my paperwork separate from 2016, and it was all like in a pile. And I knew that that was a bad system. I cannot keep stuff separate that way. I like to keep my ducks in a row. I need to have stuff organized, otherwise it makes me stressed out. It makes me worried that I'm going to lose something. And even still, even though I tried my best to keep everything in that pile and keep stuff, semi-organized until I could find the right furniture that we needed for this spot in order to properly organize my paperwork, it did not work. And I lost a receipt that I really needed, and I lost a piece of paper with some writing on it that I really needed. So I knew I needed it for a reason, and unfortunately I didn't get it in time to where I was able to keep everything straight. But at least it's in place now, and then from here on I can better organize my paperwork because, again, I have a lot that I have to do. Our household paperwork, and I have the business that I manage. I have a bunch of paperwork I have to keep for that. So when we buy things for the business with the business's card, I have to keep receipts and stuff like that so it can get written off at the end of the year. And I have to get that paperwork together and get that over to the accountant, and that's all part of my job with that. So I'm really happy to have this in place now so that I can have it organized, and my stress level has gone substantially lower. And just to keep it real really quickly, this is our homeschool. I have not picked up one bit before showing this. My kids did not even know I was going to turn the camera on them, so they have unbrushed hair from the morning. And yeah, so as you can see, it is a mess, which is why I appreciate having the other living room. This is all our school supply stuff, so it's not just junk laying around. And we do pick this stuff up every single day at the end of the day, for the most part. Maybe a few things get left behind. But yes, having this big living room being our space that we can live in more, and having the other one be the nicer looking living room, is working out, again, very well. Another problem with living out in the country we found, hawks. So last week I was recording a video, and I had just finished recording that video, and I stood up to turn off the camera, and I heard the chickens making a ruckus. So I looked out the window, and you can see this chicken coop from over there, and Willie the rooster, that guy right here, was being sat on by this giant hawk right in the center of the chicken yard. So I ran outside as fast as I could. It was cold that day, no jacket or anything, and I scared him away, but Rooster guy, he was so shaken up. He could barely walk. You could tell he was being suffocated by it, so he was just totally out of it. His comb and his beak were bloody. I wasn't sure if he was going to make it, so I brought him inside for a little while, had him calm down, and cleaned him up and stuff, and sure enough, he bounced back just fine. But that is not an issue we used to, encounter in the city. We did not have hawks there. We had raccoons, we had foxes, we had lots of other things, but not hawks. So we had to put this fencing kind of sloppily on the top of our thing to keep the hawks from being able to attack them. Mr. Rooster, Mr. Willie there, he made it. So nobody got hurt, and everything's fine now. I will say, though, that these poor chickens have been just traumatized by that hawk attack. We get flocks of birds in the yard. Right now there's no birds in the yard. Even before I came outside, there were no birds. But just out of nowhere, we'll end up with 25, 30 birds, like robins or sparrows or whatever type of flock of bird it is that's decided to descend upon the yard. And they'll be in just all the trees, they'll be all over the grass and everything. And ever since they were attacked by the hawk, whenever the other birds come out, they flood into the chicken coop and they hide. And I'm like, this hawk was huge. I mean, it was from it was taller than from my elbow to my fingertips. It was pretty big. And the little robins and things are like the size of my hand. So they're just like so scared of any bird now because they were attacked by this giant, you know, predatory bird, when that's not really what robins and sparrows and things do. I mean, they might, but like for bugs and stuff like that, they're not going to hurt the chickens. So yes, these poor chickens have been totally traumatized. And I wish I would have known that there were hawks in the area to where I could have protected them before they got attacked. But again, I'm at least, you know, happy that we were able to stop it, and it just wasn't any worse. So be careful when you're building your chicken coops to protect them from predators from all sides, above and below, because I've even at our old house had like a fox try and dig underneath to try to get to the chickens, and he did. He successfully dug down and then under to where if there wasn't fencing underneath, he would have gotten into the chicken yard. So, yep, everybody wants a chicken dinner, so make sure you protect your chickens very, very well. Yeah, so other than that, that's pretty much all we have going on. We have plans to do some work in the attic, you know, do some insulation. We need to seal the ductwork and stuff like that before we can do that. We're kicking around some different ideas of things we need to do up there before we insulate, because obviously that all needs to be done before. So yeah, that's in the works, but it seems like it's just a slow time of year. There isn't really a whole lot going on. There isn't really a whole lot to do. It's winter, so of course that kind of limits things, you know, and it seems like, maybe you've heard of it, it's called Seasonal Affective Disorder, or SAD, as its acronym, and it basically means that people just kind of get depressed in the winter and stuff like that. I have noticed that to be worse this year for me, because I don't have that greenhouse that we used to have on the other house, and I used to go sit in that greenhouse and get some sun all year long. In the winter time, pretty much the only time that we could actually get some sun is if we went out into that greenhouse, and we can't do that anymore because I don't have a greenhouse. So yeah, it's definitely making me more motivated to want to do that, to go ahead and put that on there. But again, we're being pulled on all sides with our budget, so we'll see if that can actually happen. But that would really be nice to be able to have that kind of a, you know, retreat to where we can go hang out and get the sun, have somewhere to start our seedlings and just all kinds of stuff. So greenhouses are really useful. And we're also missing the solar heat gain that we used to get from the greenhouse. So whatever, that's all right. So anyway, hopefully you guys are making it through the winter okay. Hopefully you enjoyed our little update video. It wasn't real exciting because we're mainly concentrating on schoolwork and not really so much on the projects, because like I mentioned before, we did kind of get behind on that, but we're getting caught up. My oldest daughter is actually all the way caught up, if not even a little bit ahead, and my youngest daughter is just barely behind now. But, you know, for the most part, I try to, I don't know, it seems like the whole internet does this. They mainly concentrate on the good things in life and not so much the bad. And I totally understand why now that I have a YouTube channel. It's not because people are trying to deceive people and make their life look perfect. It's just that YouTube and all platforms, you know, pretty much everywhere, has a lot of haters. And whenever you talk about things that are, you know, you're struggling with in life, they're always there to say, see, that's why you shouldn't, or see, that's why you don't. So if you homeschool your kids and you say, oh, I'm kind of struggling with it right now, they're gonna be like, see, that's why you don't homeschool. If you have your kids in public school and they disagree with that, and you talk about why they're struggling in public school, it's like, see, that's why you don't public school your kids. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what side of an issue you're on, it doesn't matter where you're at, you cannot please everyone. And so whenever you talk about how you're struggling with something, the haters always come out of the woodwork and get upset with you. And so, yeah, that's that. You know, for the most part, life is good. We don't have a whole lot of major issues, but there's definitely problems arising. There's definitely some stress, but we have to keep that to ourselves because, well, haters gonna hate. So there you go. The update on at least the positive things. That way this video can at least be more positive and uplifting for you, even though our life might not always be quite so, you know, positive itself. So anyway, thank you for joining me on this video. I'm Frugal Gringo, and we'll see you next time.